Siri Innovate Sarawak Stories ini dibawakan khas oleh TEGAS Digital Innovation Hub. Bersama saya hari ini ialah Encik Teo daripada Realfun Learning Centre. Hi Mr. Teo, how are you?
Hi, thank you very much for inviting me. I'm good.
So Mr. Teo, let's head to our first question. Maybe can you explain how did you started with Realfun and where did you get that idea from?
This started back in 2017 when I was still in KL. So I was planning to actually move back to Miri, and one of the thought is obviously compare KL and Miri, the opportunity is less. So what can I do, right? And one of the thinking that I have is that I'm also a very techy person. So I wanted to do something along the line of programming, coding, because I feel like that's the area where it can be exported. It's not limited by the location itself. Everyone will be very interested in this skill. So that's one. Personally, I really wanted to grow in that space. Secondly, is I'm very passionate in coaching and education. So this is where I have the thinking around, why don't I also share this knowledge and experience with our next generation and help them to also improve this skill so that we learn together. And combining these two, this is where this whole Realfun started.
I see. Well, the name Realfun does speak for itself, I guess. Well, maybe can you tell me more about your background and when did you started learning coding?
I graduated with mechatronics engineering, and I started to work in manufacturing plant, maintaining the automated machines, making sure that they are up and running. There's no downtimes. A lot of related to robotics itself. That was part of my first job, and secondly, then I also moved into the IT field and look into the automations, especially the retail sites. Our petrol stations, right? In terms of the automations, the ITs, systems itself. So that is, a nutshell, my experience for the past, I would say, 10 years. And along the way, I am very passionate in the programming space itself. Well, I still remember the first time that I touch on coding is during the first year in uni. And during that 4 years, and even my final year's project, right? My final year project is pretty much coding as well, where I have to create a simulation of, how ants find their food. And I have a lot of interest in so-called this programming. Then moving on, into the workforce, I myself created a couple of Excel macro, if you are aware of that, to sort of automate a lot of my tasks, because I'm actually very lazy. I really want to find automation out of all this. So I created a lot of macro automation from it, and sort of keep my programming skills intact and not go away. Then from there onwards, sort of continue with that interest, and now started this Realfun to share my interest with others.
That's really interesting. Well, talking about being lazy, Bill Gates did once said he would hire lazy people to do those difficult jobs, because he will find mostly these lazy people will find more easier ways to complete the job. Mr. Teo had always had the passion for coaching and teaching. He felt that being able to change someone's life and thinking through education is and always be the ultimate satisfaction for him. These are the main reasons why he shifted his focus into education. He also desires to create a bigger impact to the society through his teachings and knowledge that he has gained in the programming field.
We started with just a handful of students. I mean, less than 10. That's when we started in 2018, and now we have over 100 students all over Malaysia, from West Malaysia to East Malaysia, and in addition to that, international students as well outside of Malaysia. From that perspective, I couldn't agree more. We have definitely grown over these past 3 years. But in addition to that, I'm also very glad that to be able to work together with the STEC, especially Sarawak Digital Economy Corporation, as a STEM delivery partner to help run some of the STEM programs and make more impact to all our young kids in Sarawak. So that is something that I'm very grateful in terms of the achievement that we have made over these past 3 years. But in addition to that, as you mentioned, any particular key achievement, I think I will highlight 2 of them, right? And one is back in 2019. Back in 2019, where we have 2 students that won the coding challenge that's organized by NASA and Tinker. And these 2 students, not in the same challenge, but in 2 separate challenges within that year itself as a global winner. To me, that is really, really a surprise to me, because I'm able to, like I said, influence and impact individuals' life in that way. Put them on a world stage, helping not just Miri and Sarawakian, but as a Malaysian, be proud of that achievement. So that's one. And secondly, this year we also managed to get the regional award for one of the coding competition that is called Technovation Girls. So the team that I mentored in Miri, 4 girls from 5 students, they created this mobile app, and that creation itself won them the Asia region winner for this year. So that is, to me, again, a very proud achievement that I'm able to help the students and make an impact on their life.
Wow, those are really outstanding achievements from your students. Realfun Learning Centre then joined TEGAS Startup Lab Accelerator of Batch 3. We then asked Mr. Teo how TEGAS Startup Lab helped him with his startup.
TEGAS Startup Lab has pushed me out of my comfort zone and explore new areas, new programs that I've never thought that I would want to go into. That I see as a very positive change in my startup. Besides that, I've also got to know new friends, new partners that I can collaborate with, because from the program itself, I've also realized the importance of collaborating with others.
Thank you, Mr. Teo, for that very insightful advice. Let's hope those future or young entrepreneurs out there are more lifted, and they could learn a thing or 2 from your sharing today. Well, unfortunately, guys, we've reached towards the end of our segment today. So thank you once again, thank you, Mr. Teo, for joining us today, and to all of you out there, stay safe and see you in the next episode. Bye!